welcome to the Learn From Us podcast. I'm Seth. This is Paul. Paul, how are you?
I'm wonderful, Seth. How are you?
You and I are going to see Joe Rogan here in a few weeks.
That's right, we are. Shit, let me write that. Make sure that's in my calendar.
26, 8 o'clock.
Make sure it's in my calendar. Has he responded to our email yet?
He has not. I wrote 2 emails to Joe Rogan to get him on the podcast when he comes to Cleveland. The current bid is $15,000. If anyone in the world knows how to get a hold of Joe Rogan or get him in here, if that's not enough money, talk to Uncle Paul. Have him call Paul. His number is 1-800-MIX-A-LOT.
Better call Paul.
Better call Paul.
I like that show, by the way.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's good.
Breaking Bad ended, and that was it for me.
Oh, I like Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul. You texted me, most of our podcast topics come from real life topics.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep well last night.
Oh.
I was up late just doing stuff, and I can't turn my mind off as well. I've also learned that, like, alcohol nightcaps, not good for you. I thought I didn't think they were, but I mean.
You enjoyed them.
I usually would have, like every night I'll have one.
Yeah.
I thought it helped me sleep better, and then I guess I watch these sleep study
things,
and there's like, yeah, it does help you fall asleep. It doesn't help you maintain good sleep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. So, but you texted me.
When?
Last Thursday.
Okay, what'd I say?
Manhattan apartment prices.
Oh, yes.
Suffered their worst slide in almost a decade in the third quarter as buyers stayed away from multi-million-dollar purchases while newly built luxury properties continue to flood the market. Median prices fell 12% in the quarter from a year earlier, the worst drop since the 3 quarters of 2009. The median price fell to $1 million. For the first time, it has dipped, it was $999,999. It was the first time it dipped below $1 million in a long time. The slump, this is what you liked. The slump was
this is what I found interesting.
The slump was due in part to the introduction of a progressive mansion tax at the end of the second quarter, brokers said, and an expectation that prices would fall further. You wrote to me, I know no one cares if a rich person pays more in taxes, but this will trickle down to lower levels for sure. Who are the construction and maintenance men and women who build these? The prices are down 25%.
I think, by the way, there was 12% for the quarter, and I think from the peak, they're down 25% this year.
Again, my whole life growing up Democrat-ish, I heard that the Reagan trickle-down theory
was bullshit.
It was.
That's what you heard.
Yeah, that's what I heard, and it made a lot of sense. Oh, wait, you mean the rich people want to keep their rich money? That makes a lot of sense to me. They don't want rich people to not have as much money so that, well, tell me about the trickle-down theory and tell me about what your take on it.
Well, as I was talking to somebody the other day about this, the trickle-down doesn't mean that rich people are just going to hand. People accuse rich people of being very greedy, right?
Yeah.
Well, what do greedy people want?
Stuff for themselves?
More money, right?
Yeah.
So how do you make more money?
Build businesses and
do more business. What do businesses require?
Well, I guess some people might say, or vote for people who would change the tax laws so that you keep more of the money you're already making.
If they want more stuff, then, okay, they keep more of the money they're making. What are they going to do with that money? Give it to their bratty kids? What are their bratty kids going to do? They're going to spend it. What are they going to buy? They're going to buy stuff. Who bakes the stuff? Who builds the stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'm not sitting there saying it's a 1-to-1, but every complaint that everybody has for why we should tax people more, there is a definite trickle down to the lower income levels. 1,000%. Anybody who denies that is a moron, because the same criticism of, they just want to buy more stuff. Okay, great. And somebody has to make that stuff. They want to get bigger houses. Yeah, and somebody has to maintain those houses. Somebody has to maintain those those lawns. Somebody has to do all these things that these greedy asshole rich people, you give it in the government's hand, how much of that finds itself to the poor? How inefficient is the government? Call it 50%. I think it's low. So you're wasting 50% of the money just doing what? Yeah, it's going to other people too, but you ever see somebody who's a government worker who doesn't make a decent wage? Come on, give me a break. This is ridiculous. That mansion tax is a prime example. Now, over time, that'll even itself out, but it caused the problem immediately. Oh, tax? Okay, I'm not going to spend that.
Well, see, I never learned the repercussions of, I always heard the ripple effect, the trickle-down economics was a crock of shit because it just basically was a ploy to get rich people keep their money, or at least that's what they wanted, right? Rich
people who keep their money do something with that money. They invest it. They buy stuff. They do other things with their money. I don't know a single rich person who has all their money in cash just sitting doing nothing.
I think what we're going to learn is the reverse, the other way, the reverse trickle down is what you've been saying for the past few weeks, that you're fearful that when rich people stop spending their money, this is a true sign of
slowdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And by the way, there's also a positive effect to poor people making more money. It's a balance. It's never one. I don't want 3 people in the world to have all the money. I don't want everybody to be equal. There's a balance somewhere. All I'm saying is let the cards fall where they fall. Let us all tax everybody equally. Let's give each other enough. Let's give everybody a livable income. When I say that, not a livable wage, I'm okay with what Andrew Yang is saying about giving a guaranteed check every month to everybody over the age of 18. I'm okay with that with concessions on the other side of it. It's just this healthy balance of how do we do it. But this whole thing about, well, we just got to come out of the rich people's pocket. Eventually, you make my taxes 90% in the highest marginal bracket. Guess how many businesses I'm going to start? 0. Why? Mm-hmm. Why would I go work extra to go save to get 10% in my pocket? There's too much risk involved. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. And if you think that's wrong, by the way, I guarantee you poll Democrats, I bet you they couldn't even tell you the highest tax bracket, what it is. I bet you they couldn't tell you the history. Whenever I ask people what the highest tax bracket was in history, nobody goes, everybody says, oh, come on, 92% really? I'm like, go look it up.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it was 92%.
I didn't believe it either.
Yeah, nobody believes it because that's so ridiculous. Listen, it was 70% in 1981. When Reagan took over, 70% was the highest bracket. He chopped it down to 28%, but he gave a lot of concessions for that. And he had a lot of deficits. I'm not a fan of deficits either. Like, that's the thing. When people start talking about like the left side of it, it's like, no, I'm all in favor of balanced budget surpluses. The way of doing it, which is the old economic way of, just like we live our personal life. You save and save and save. You have surpluses. That way, when bad times come, you have something to fall back on, right? You save during good times and use it during bad times. No different. But taxing just to tax, millionaire tax. It's no coincidence. I mean, yeah, I didn't do the study to do the correlation. Or is it really this? But if realtors are saying, yeah, all of our clients like, why should I'm going to have to spend, if I'm going to get taxed this amount, it's got to come off the purchase price. So all they're going to do is say, let's say, for example, the price used to be $1.5 million. The tax is 10%. You know what they're going to do now? They're going to spend $1,350,000. Done. All right. Well, it's maybe $1,380,000, whatever they round up. It's like, okay, well, I'm willing to pay $1.5 million, whether you want to give me a tax. So who ends up taking it? It ends up coming out somehow. The brokers don't get the money. The broker, it goes, that 10% extra, it comes out of a lot of different pockets. People care about that? No, but you better believe that's never going to go away. Anyhow, that was my rant about it. And it wasn't it'll all even itself out in the long run. Once people get used to that. But at the same token, at some point, you disincentivize people from working. If I went to your work and said, okay, employees, we're going to take 10% out of your pay right now to give to somebody else who needs it more. They're going to say, no, I need it. Okay, sounds good. But a rich person doesn't need it. How do you know? How do you know the guy who making $400,000 a year doesn't have 10 kids? Maybe he's Mormon and has 10 kids. And $400,000 a year isn't a ton of money. Oh, that's his choice. Okay. Well, it's a lot of your choices too. Either way, it's a whole circular argument. We've had this 1,000 times, but to argue that taxes aren't going to be, I believe in a high sales tax also. Hey, if rich people spend money, give a high sales tax. We buy expensive stuff. Hey, you want to buy that $300,000 Ferrari? Great. It's a 15% sales. You're going to pay $345 for it. I'm more in favor of that than a progressive tax system. I'd much rather have that because then it's like, oh, you want to spend a lot of money? Great, go do this. But even that's going to hurt spending, though. It's just the way it is. And then people are going to say, well, then a poor person pays 15% sales tax. Then it goes back to the whole, let's write a check. Let's have this $1,000 a month or whatever the number is. But we can make it all work. It's just people don't want to make it work, Seth. When an organization gets big enough, like the government, it's hard to make people want to make changes, right? Mm-hmm. We talk about that for companies, right? You and I talk about, you're a new company. You guys are 4 people. You guys are a lot more nimble than you'll be at $1 million and $10 million in sales, right? We were a lot more nimble 10 years ago than we are today. We're still very nimble, but not like we were 10 years ago, right? I mean, look at Tim. Tim, you're part of our Dynasty Owner startup. How easy is it for you to make changes now if you want to go change the way in which the devs work on something in a day? I mean, besides the issues you're having, and just in terms of if today you wanted something started on, how hard would that be? Very easy. But when we have someday when it works, we have 100 developers, it's going to be, okay, who's in charge of this group? Which group's going to do it? It's going to take a lot longer.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll still be fast, but it'll be a lot longer still.
If you didn't know, Paul is the creator of
Dynasty Owner
Fantasy Football.
And Tim's the CEO. DynastyOwner.com. It's a new way of playing fantasy football. It involves real salaries, owning a sports team, handling real payroll, paying payroll every week, etc.
It's a brainchild of yours.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
But I think it's a prime example of
investing.
Yeah, you kind of getting maybe bored a little bit with the normal everyday of life and starting another business and employing people.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hate to say it, but we employ a lot of foreign people. People are like, what a jerk. It's like, well, you guys want to make a lot of money here. That's the downside to it.
They want a higher wage.
On a higher wage, that means if I can hire somebody in India for $18 an hour, the same person here wants 75, even if they're half as efficient, it's still $36 an hour. You know what I mean?
At what point does that catch up with us?
Well, it doesn't catch up. These are cycles, Seth. It's just like I always give the example, which then I heard Warren Buffett gives the same example, but when we created the car, everybody who ever had a locomotive job didn't lose their job forever. Then the car companies started hiring more people, and some of those people transitioned to the car companies. There's just cycles like that. I would still be more in favor of a higher earning economy than a lower earning economy. But I'm very big on having a widespread range of wealth. It's okay to have a widespread range of wealth. You know, Mark Zuckerberg came out and said it's wrong that anybody has billions of dollars. Mark, write a check. Yours is gone in 2 seconds. Write a check. It's a very simple solution.
Yeah.
If it's morally wrong that one person has that much money, it's a very simple solution. It's transfer, done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure nobody would argue with you. If you tell me, oh, you have to control my shares, you can still control your shares. Donate it to a charity. And by the way, when he does write the check, it's not going to the government. Guarantee you that right now. He's going to send it to a private foundation. So the same guys who talk about the higher taxes are never going to see their money ever touch the U.S. government. They're all donating it to private enterprise, private charities. Warren Buffett committed his money fully to private charities. Not $1 is going to go to the government, as much as he can. He knows it's still inefficient. So it's a hypocrisy. But either way, these solutions can all be solved with one thing. Just give your money away. I feel like it's just me going, okay, well, and by the way, I plan to do the same thing someday. I want to see as little money going to the government as possible. I want as much of it as possible going to some family foundation that we have. It'll never go to the U.S. government.
You want to start one?
Oh, we already have one.
What's it do? Tell me about it.
Oh, we do. We don't like to talk a lot about it.
At all?
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's all self-funded. My brother and I are very big. You know, I'm big on kids, and we do a lot of things supporting kids' education and health and.
You don't even want to talk about
sports. You know, I'm not very big on that stuff. You know that. It seems like a pat in the back, like it's a humble brag. You know what I mean? Why does that make you go, Like you're actually like what?
Well, I'm in the business of promoting inspirational things.
I know.
To push people, to influence people on maybe being inspired themselves.
I know. It's a very valid argument.
And so there's a little bit of that. I mean, I just know in terms of like public perception, which I'm sure you don't care about much.
It still hurts.
What?
People with public perception of
sure.
As time grows. Go ahead.
That kind of work is usually not ever frowned upon.
Yeah.
Within the public eye. It turned a lot of people's careers around.
Bill Gates went from one of the most hated men in the country 20 some years ago, literally to like the most revered man in the world now. I mean, he's literally probably one of the most revered men in the world, all because of his philanthropy.
Yeah, I had someone say, something about you that I don't even know if I agreed with. I don't even know the facts.
Oh, wow. What did they say? Tim, are you listening to this?
They said, you know, I hear about Paul and what he says. I'm a big supporter of yours, the mindset that you've taught me and how to move forward. And he says, yeah, well, you know, like, I'm sorry, man. You want me to say?
Yeah.
He said, man, go read his reviews online. This guy's a slumlord.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know how to react.
So if you read the reviews online, there are two sides to every story. By the way, it's not reviews. If you look at the articles written about us.
Okay.
We had issues in Columbus with our properties. And the issues we weren't doing anything to the properties. The issues were we weren't doing it fast enough. 100% agree. We were not doing it fast enough. You know why? They wanted to hire contractors at $25,000 or $30,000 per unit, and we knew the work was $15,000 or $16,000. Sorry, I'm not going to spend that money.
Who's they wanted?
The city.
Oh.
Now, have you seen the city at all harassing us? No. If I'll show you our properties right now. You tell me that's a slumlord property. I will bet anybody any money. You contact me, ask me for pictures of our properties. If you look at our pictures and say they're slumlord properties, I will give you $10,000. There's no way. Zero chance. We have granite countertops. We have backsplash, marble backsplash. We have brand new everything. You are absolutely delusional if you think did we have a tough time? Absolutely. Was it my fault? 1,000%. But all the reviews online for Cleveland, I responded to every single one of them.
You love doing that.
Love doing it because to me, I'm like, listen, I'm not afraid. Just like somebody's saying this now. I'm not afraid somebody calling me a slumlord. We got a lot of trouble in the city. It costs a lot of money. We had a lot of trouble.
Are they uninformed saying that, or they're just
Well, there's two sides to every story. Did those things happen? 1,000%. Were they for the reason? The same person, in fact, the articles, the biggest guy who was against us is now our biggest proponent. In a lawsuit, he actually, the other side called him, and they ended up not using him as a witness because they're like, yeah, he was pro us. The same guy who was very against us is like, no, they turned everything around. They did exactly what they said they were going to do. I have no problem with that one. Is it embarrassing? Of course it's embarrassing to be called a slumlord. Do we have problems? Absolutely. Would you classify as a slumlord before? In that short time period, when we had, by the way, that was caused by a fire in which the insurance company took 5 months to pay.
Yeah.
So when everybody vacated, we vacated the property, the city came in and gave us a bunch of violations. Hey, it happened. That's why we sued the insurance company.
And won?
We settled out of court for a very big number.
That's a win, right?
I wanted more. We got more than we were owed. So
will you ever tell me this story in private?
Which story? The lawsuit?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
But it's a long story. It's pretty, the insurance company was pretty bad about it. Was it somebody I know who said the slumlord thing? It was. Now, and I'll ask you later. By the way, I want to know because you're not going to tell me, are you?
Well, I wouldn't. I mean, it's probably the type of thing that was told to me in confidence.
Then you shouldn't tell me. But here's the thing, though. There are two sides to every story.
Well, he only got one of them.
Yeah, but listen, I get why they did that. They went on the internet, they searched my name, these things popped up, etc. I get that. Just like, but at the same token, I'm like, have they done have they gone to our website?
Uneducated. I mean,
capcityapartments.com. These are the properties everybody calls a slumlord for. capcityapartments.com. Do me a favor, go look at the virtual tours and tell me they're slum properties. By the way, call the city of Cleveland and ask them why their economic developer is meeting with me at the end of this month to talk to me about buying more properties in Cleveland.
I didn't get an invite for that meeting, by the way.
So call Shaker Square and ask them how pissed they are that I'm no longer an owner in the square. And tell me that's a slum. Here's the thing. I'm not a slumlord one place and not a slumlord in another place. You know what I mean? You either are or you aren't.
Sure.
Whoever said that to you, I mean, listen, I get it. It's funny. I had a PR person reach out to me probably a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and said, hey, there's a lot of stuff written about you in Columbus. We can get rid of that. And I actually said, like, you know what? I don't believe in like censorship. I believe in, listen, let it be out there. Those are facts. The facts are the city got mad at us. They issued violations. I believe there was actually a criminal issuance of a criminal act against me personally. We fixed it all. And this was years ago. This was 6-7 years ago. And when the city, by the way, we were called like the 7th worst landlord in Columbus in one rating by the Columbus Dispatch, and it was based on the previous year. If you did the first year, we're not on the list. We're not on the list anymore. Of course not. We did. Those properties in Columbus are beautiful now. No, there's one property that still needs a lot of work, and we're still doing it in there, but it's night and day difference. And by the way, I guarantee we're the best properties in that area. Guarantee. Are we in Class C areas? Absolutely. But we are the best properties in that area, bar none. And you can see that from our collections and our rent charged. So I'm not going to harass you to tell me who it was, because I'm sure it's probably somebody that if I've heard, I'd probably be like, they're dead to me, I'm going to kill them. But either way, listen, if it's... That's
precisely probably what they did, right? Look up, who is this
guy? But I'm glad you told me, because it's kind of like, hey, Paul, this doesn't seem consistent with you as a person. I mean, look at this building. You saw how this building used to be, right?
Oh, no, that was it. I was like, I mean, he or she said it. And I was like...
Was it Tim?
I was like, first of all, I don't know what you're talking about. So luckily, I'm not like one of these guys that's like formulating an opinion. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But that's probably what happened. I mean, I'm sure people might... I see so much horse shit come across my Facebook feed of people claiming to be teachers, educators, professionals. Number one, I'm shocked at the video and audio quality that these people who are trying to get me to spend thousands of dollars with them, and they can't even spend $340.
On a microphone.
For a microphone.
The same microphone that Joe Rogan uses.
I'm just like, I don't understand it. But the point is, there's so much bullshit out there. And people's just selling these vague ideas that I don't even know what you're talking about. They give me a 3-minute video about what they do, and the words like synergy and comprehensive approach, I don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't even know. Synergizing backward overflow.
But they must see you and think, I think there's a hesitation of like, well, here's an educator. Are they for real? Right?
Of course. And, so it's hard because I'm very big on the open, let's just talk about an open book, right? And we had an employee at one of the properties who messaged me on LinkedIn like 2 years ago and actually said about one of the properties, so did you give it back to the bank? I go, no, it's turned around completely. Like, oh, I would have thought, in fact, one of the bankers on the deal said we've never had a property go this far south and not get foreclosed on. And I was like, I made a commitment financially to the property. I'm there. In fact, I paid off that mortgage in cash. I just said, you know what? I didn't want the bank talking to me and asking me questions. We paid it off in cash. We paid a big penalty to pay it off in cash. I think it was like a $90,000 penalty to pay it off, just so we could do it our way. The city still harassed us. And don't get me wrong, we're on city's radar. Every single time we look at a property or buy a property, they're immediately there to go look at it because we're on their radar. I'm fully fine with that. Tim, how much money did we put in all our properties? We put a ton of money. No, everything we do, Columbus, Cleveland, doesn't matter. We had a unit in Cleveland we put $42,000 into. Hey guys, that sound like a slumlord? Puts $42,000 into one apartment unit. Yeah. Listen, I'll fight that all day long. Maple Heights, we had the best houses there. I will fight. Well, there's that one company in Maple Heights who goes way over the top. Like way over the top. We don't do as well as they do in terms of finish.
Yeah.
I'll go to bat on that one slumlord thing all day long. It's all day long. Listen, it bums me out that somebody didn't come to me and say, hey, Paul, I read this about you. I'd have gladly talked about it. I understand it's awkward, though. It's tough to come.
That's hard to approach somebody.
Yeah, I'm glad you did it. But it is hard to approach somebody. But I've just been somebody like who knows me goes, hey, Paul, I read this about you. What's the deal here? Oh, all right, cool. Let's talk about it.
I'm certain the same people that might have read that article probably won't see this show, but it's interesting to hear your thoughts on it.
I really am glad you brought it up because I want you to actually bring it up to people like, yeah, he's had his issues. And trust me.
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe that is me bringing it up because I didn't know what he was talking about. So I didn't really know how to counteract it. Like I from what I've seen, I haven't seen anything like that. I find that hard to believe. This is like It was outside circumstances, which a lot of people claim on things. You always see somebody go, oh, it's a misunderstanding. It's like, no, it wasn't a misunderstanding. It was something that we ended up involved in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit with an insurance company about. And in fact, we actually thought about suing the city of Columbus for harassment. They would literally call our tenants and say, do you have any issues you want to report? And it was literally like, oh, our blinds are broken. Issue a violation. It's like, guys, blinds are broken. Call the fucking office. We'll take care of the blinds. But the city puts a violation there, and then you get a bank going, why are there violations? It's like, it makes hell. Listen, I get it. At one point we had, because of the fire, we had walkways like falling apart. Well, okay, yeah, I get that. There was a fire there. Like, I get that. Yeah.
But call the city, that's fine, but we're handling this thing. So either way, I am glad it was brought up, only because I like being open about it, and I'm not afraid. It's like the whole thing. It made us better landlords.
Yeah, of course.
It made us better buyers now too. Now we know when we go to Columbus, we just looked at a deal last year in which the actual owner was the worst landlord in Columbus. He had like 350 violations, and he was a slumlord, not putting any money in the properties. Zero. By the way, here's how much of a slumlord I am. I bought my 3 properties in Columbus that I currently own for a total of $7.7 million. I put $11 million into them. I'm into them for $18.7 million right now, maybe 18. So call it $10.5 million bucks.
Are you serious?
Is that a slumlord? Yeah, that's not a slumlord. I put more into them than I bought them for. Literally, I'm into those buildings for 18 to 18 and a half. I don't know the exact number. I have to look it up. Is that a slumlord? That's all in unit renovations too, basically. We did outside stuff too, don't get me wrong. And our budget next year, the properties in Columbus are estimated to make $1.5 million next year in profit for us. Our budget's to put $700,000 of that into the properties. Is that a slumlord, people? Come on. That's why I'm confident saying, come on down, kids. Let's have a look. You know what I mean? I look at it going, it's ridiculous. Like a slumlord, somebody who buys a property for $7 million bucks, and doesn't do anything to it and tries to put paint and blinds. Like, okay, it's a new property. No, we laugh at people and like, oh, we did unit renovations. How much you spend? $4,000, $14,000? No, $4,000.
Yeah, that won't even get you a bathroom.
That won't get you shit. I mean, it'll get a bathroom. It'll get you a kitchen, great, but that's it.
Yeah.
So I look at that going. The reason I'm glad you say it is I know I hear that, and I'm sure there's other people who Google me because I get notifications. I used to get like. When I had a blog very actively, I'd see what people were searching. And there were a lot of searches for Paul Gabrail Columbus, Paul Gabrail city violations, things like that. So I'm like, okay, people are actually looking this up and they are looking this thing up. And I don't like it for the fact of if somebody doesn't ask me about it, it's great if somebody asks me about it. I can talk about it. It's great if somebody says, hey, what do your properties look like? Go to capcityapartments.com. Tell me how the properties look. Mm-hmm. It's not good if it's somebody who's like, I'm just going to keep it silent and just look at Paul and go, ugh. But, I do the same thing, I'm sure. Right?
Yeah.
But I have seen people who are really guilty of being bad people and they avoid the topic. A friend of mine went to jail recently for something and I saw him randomly in public. I was like, oh, how's life? And he was just like, he avoided the conversation. And I'm like, how's it been since you got out? I was trying to support him. Like, hey, since you got out, et cetera. He's like, I got to go to the bathroom. And he just like fled off. And I'm like,
what do you go to the can for?
I don't want to say because then we'll know we'll know who the person was.
Okay. Well, you don't have to tell me.
But it was blatant. Like, yeah, he did the thing wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he basically admitted that to me. He's like, well, I didn't really think it was going to be this big of a penalty. I'm like, okay, well. And by the way, I agree with him. I was surprised he got, a year and a half or 2 years, whatever he got. I was like, damn, really for that?
Is this jail or prison?
What's the difference?
I think prison's more like a lockdown.
It was prison.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was prison then. But either way.
Wow.
Yeah, so listen, I'm very proud of our real estate. And that's one thing I'm very big on. I don't want any real estate that we're not proud of. That's why we went and put $80,000 into the exterior of this building. I went and put $80,000 in the exterior of this building because I was just like, when you drove up to it, I didn't like it. I was like, you got to change it. In fact, I want to put another $100,000 into it. And my brother was like, pump the brakes here, Paul. We don't need to do that. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Even Lisa was like, Paul, that's overboard. We put $80,000 in though.
Stunning.
Just the front of it. I was really pushing it as a lounge. Since Lisa left, so our offices were Tim, Lisa, Mary, right? Uh-huh. So when Lisa left, Tim was like, Mary and I have been talking, and we want to blow the wall down or put a door there and put a lounge there for Mary and I. So since Lisa left in July, Tim's been pushing this lounge.
What do you want to do in said lounge?
He wants a Papa Shot, though. We can all get behind a Papa Shot, can't we? Papa Shot, kegerator. Tim, I've never seen you drink alcohol ever.
I know. It's just fun. Kegerator. I'll whoop you in ping pong, that's for sure.
Oh, I don't like ping pong. How's your tennis game going? Definitely Papa Shot. I get ads on Instagram for Papa Shot. By the way, everyone, don't buy anything on Instagram until you looked it up on Amazon. It's like double the price on Instagram.
Are we done talking serious?
Oh, we can talk whatever you want.
Because you absolutely have to buy one of those rebound machines for the house.
I know.
Please, just...
you know how much that thing is?
I'll go in.
You'll go in.
I would.
Do you know how much it is?
They're like $5,000.
$6,300. My friend on the street has one, and he asked me, can I store it at your house? I said, you're welcome. He hasn't brought it over yet.
Just borrow it.
It's not just borrow it. It's a huge machine. Colleges and NBA teams use it.
Listen, we can up our game, Paul. Just me and you.
I know.
I'll drive over. Gio will come over. We shoot.
It's amazing.
I'll get in on it. I don't know how. It's amazing. You have storage room. You have a little storage room for it.
I don't think it would fit in there, though. That's the other thing. I am doing a renovation, though. What if I just add another storage room?
I'm just saying the thing's awesome.
I almost pulled the trigger on it 2 years ago. And my buddy Mike has one. At his house, he said, he goes, hey, you mind if I put it in your house, the only thing I request is if my kids want to come over and shoot anytime, they can come over. I'm like, deal.
Right?
But he never brought it over.
You got a phone there.
You want me to text him right now?
What better time?
Let me text him. Wait, let me text him real quick.
I sold Bitcoin on the podcast a few episodes ago. I sold at 10,400 and it plummeted down to $7,000. So Paul,
what is it now though?
Was right. It's about eight, a little over 8. It's gone up a smidge. But
by the way, we'll know when I'm right in years and years to come.
Yeah, sure.
So you want to hear something about that?
Go on.
I always tell people 8,200. I always joke and say, I'll know I'm right the day I die. Because that's when it matters.
I guess.
Right?
Yeah.
That's when it really matters. I don't know if any decision I make today is really right until the day I die. Because that's the final day. It's like, All right, this is when it mattered.
I told you about that book I read. I couldn't think what it was. Like, it might be called Unfuck Yourself. I just love it.
Oh,
have you read it?
The Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
No, it's called different book.
Yeah.
Unfuck Yourself.
No, I've not read it.
Oh, it's just the idea. I think this is one. Is the idea that I've probably said this before, but it just changed my life. It's just like every time we do something on a day-to-day basis, we think we're doing it right. And then inevitably 5 years later, it was wrong. Or right, like we've been wrong so many times in our life.
We talk about that here. We talk about, okay, what are we going to look at 10 years from now and look back and go, idiots, 2019, you were so stupid.
Right.
What were you doing?
Why weren't we doing this?
Yeah.
Why were we dressed like that? Why did we have those relationships? Why did we make that decision? So you're right. But like we constantly think we're right. Moreover, we might find we're wrong, but still have to live life. But anyway, so that's my thought, man.
It's wonderful.
But yeah, so I'm not anxious to see the reverse trickle down of people of wealthier folks not spending. But
listen,
so much discussion about this is the beginning of the end for the economy. It's going to turn. It's going to turn. I still don't think people are going to be ready for it.
Well, we rarely are, but who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's happening?
I'm ready.
Trump's doing a good job.
Yeah.
I was at Walls teaching on Friday, and the kid comes up. He goes, right when Trump tweeted that he created all these jobs, like, Trump again. I'm like, oh, would you stop with that? He's like, you don't like Trump? I'm like, listen, I'm a right winger, but the guy's a lunatic. He's like, he's the best. I'm like, he's a lunatic. He's like, he just created 156,000 jobs, whatever the report was. I'm like, no, he didn't. I was like, he did not create 156,000 jobs. I'm sorry. He's like, unemployment rate's the lowest it's been in 50 years. I'm like, got it. But the same token, if Hillary had won, they'd be saying Hillary was the reason for all this. So it's all the same thing.
Maybe they are.
Maybe I don't. No, they're not.
Oh, okay.
They are not.
Not even me.
It's not Trump. It's not. I think the president has a lot less. The way the president affects the economy is through tax and budget.
Thanks for your
I think that's Congress a lot. So
thanks, Paul.
Keep it real, bro.
See you.
Bye.